At Benita's defiant words, Curafat's anger only grew. Her ego, impulsive personality, and desire to win caused her to press the other's delicate body against the narrow wall. She released her hand from Benita's slender waist, lifted her chin, and tilted her face before pressing her lips against hers quickly. Zah. Benita's eyes widened in shock, her body stiffening. Even her hands, which were clinging to Curafat's arm, lost their strength. A flood of emotions washed over her, but the main one was disappointment, mixed with deep shock. She had thought Curafat was different. In the end, he was just another person who wanted to use her body. But the most absurd thing was that she had allowed herself to have this hope. How could she expect anything from someone she barely knew? They were strangers to each other, separated by an unbridgeable chasm. Benita never had the right to expect anything from anyone, not even her own family. When he noticed that Benita had stood still, without reacting, Curafat stepped back with a dissatisfied expression. I squeezed, you scratched, but when I kissed you, why didn't you fight back? The kiss was not deep, nor invasive, but what happened inside Benita was much more intense, reaching the depths of her heart. She pushed Curafat away. It was a small move, but it made her feel much better. Her face was red with anger. As if to make her displeasure clear, she wiped her lips with the back of her hand before opening the door and leaving without saying a single word. Where are you going, babe? Curafat held her arm, but when Benita turned to face her, her eyes were filled with disappointment. Worse still, she looked like she was about to cry. Curafat felt a tightness in his chest. He hadn't expected to see her react like this. You didn't listen to me. I thought you were different, that you were better. But in the end, you're just like everyone else. Curafat was silent. If so, I'd rather just meet the queen who protected me from those people that night. It was the first time Curafat realized he had truly made a mistake. His stubbornness and desire to control everything had hurt Benita. I thought you respected me more than that. At least, I thought you wouldn't be like the others. Benita kept repeating the same thing, lost in her own thoughts. If she had known this would happen, she would never have allowed herself to trust Curafat. And now, what she had done hurt her deeply. You. Benita swallowed hard, sobbing. She pulled her arm free from Curafat's hand and then ran away, leaving her there, motionless, as if her soul had been ripped from her body. Curafat bit his lip and let out a long sigh. The small moment of triumph he had felt had turned into a disaster. Had it been worth it? The only certainty was that he did not feel good about what he had done. Benita's disappointed eyes, the way she wiped her lips, these images would be stuck in his mind for a long time. But still, Curafat wasn't the type to chase after anyone. It went against her nature. She liked to be in control, to make everything happen the way she wanted. She hated losing her balance because of someone, and even more so for a younger girl like Benita. She was frustrated that her desire to win had led her to act like this. Benita didn't help either, teasing her the whole time. But worst of all, Curafat should have known that she had no right to do this without permission. If he was going to do this from the start, why did he ask if he could kiss her beforehand? People who really want something don't ask for permission. It was like that saying, playing with a dog can make him lick your face. And yes, Curafat compared himself to a dog, a big, untamed one, not at all cute. But what bothered her most wasn't the kiss. It was the fact that Benita hadn't allowed it. And yet, she did it anyway. Had he lost his mind because of some provocations? Miss Queen's touch was both soft and warm. She remembered that feeling well. She even remembered the look the other girl gave her, a look of someone who had lost control and no longer intended to hold back. Still, she was really angry. She knew the other would never look. For her to apologize, and if he wasn't going to apologize, then let it all end there. As for the job offer that Queen had mentioned, since there was no formal written acceptance yet, the woman could do nothing against it. If he knew he was wrong but had no intention of apologizing, then it was better if they never met again in this life. He could stay angry for 100 years and never make up. Yes, she would take that seriously. If you're not going to apologize, then never appear in front of me again. Who needs to apologize to whom, Benita? Mint's voice sounded behind her, making her body shiver. She hadn't even realized her friend was there. Nothing. Have you served all the customers? Yes, I'm free now. And you? Weren't you busy until the bar closed? What are you doing sitting here? If some gossiper comes and tells the manager, you could be in trouble. Tell me what? I've already finished my work. Has that client left yet? Benita frowned and shook her head. She really didn't know if Queen had already left. According to protocol, she was supposed to stay with the client until the end of the allotted time. If Queen complained to the manager, she might be considered negligent. With that face, don't tell me you were irritated with the client, Mint teased her friend. Benita was beautiful, with big round eyes and chubby cheeks. It was always fun for Mint to tease her and make her sulk. What face? Front forehead, eyebrows together and mouth closed. Have you ever been told that your expression makes it very clear what you feel? Never. Then I'm the first to say. My face has always been like this since I was born. And what do you have in the corner of your mouth? Benita quickly wiped her lips with the back of her hand and looked in the mirror. Her frown deepened when she noticed a trace of lipstick, Queen's lipstick. Even though she was no longer there, that woman still managed to make her angry. Just be careful, Mint said, as if she knew something. She wasn't naive, but she preferred to just give her friend a warning rather than get too involved. Benita didn't answer. He stood there for a while longer before getting up and going into the hall to see if Queen was still there. However, the table was already occupied by other customers. This meant that Queen had left, and the restaurant had freed up the table for other people. Great, that way they wouldn't have to go through another. Embarrassing situation. 1 week later, Kurafat sat at the head of the meeting table, calmly listening to each team's presentations. Her face was impassive, but her mind still wandered to Benita's disappointed expression. Kurafat didn't like the lack of concentration that made her lose focus on her work. She hated it, but she couldn't find a justification for the feelings that disturbed her. She thought that in a few days she would forget everything. After all, why would she care so much about someone she barely knew? But Benita simply wouldn't leave her mind. And that was the problem. She made no comments on the reports presented, as all sectors had prepared well. Nothing to criticize. She simply expressed her gratitude for the team's effort, allowing the meeting to end quickly. I have no objections to the work of each sector. Thank you for your commitment. I promise that if our results at the end of the year are positive, everyone will receive a fair reward. No one wants to work hard without any reward. Everyone wants to grow and be recognized. And as vice president, Kurafat would never neglect this aspect. A solid foundation only made the mountaintop even stronger. As soon as she left the room, the heads of each department sighed in relief and exchanged cautious glances. No team had made any mistakes this time, which meant that in the next presentation, everyone would need to try even harder. If it was already difficult to compete to be the best within your own team, competing with other teams to stand out was even more challenging. That evening, Kurafat returned home. Despite his disagreements with his mother, he still kept his promise to come back every weekend. As soon as he walked in, he saw his older brother relaxing in the living room. Upon seeing her, he quickly turned off everything and followed her into the kitchen. While she got water from the fridge, he sat down at the dining table, looking like he wanted to say something. I just got in touch with Queen's men, but they told me they're looking into something for her, nothing business-related, but rather about a certain college student. Leaking information about the boss? Should we fire him? It was true that she still had people monitoring Benita from a distance. She just wanted to know if the girl was okay. That was all, not that she was interested. Absolutely not. Never mind. That's all this guy said, but no matter how much I pressed him, he wouldn't give any details. Annoying, isn't it? He worships you more than me. I was the one who hired him, after all. Heh, in the end, he even sold out his own boss. Kita smiled. It had been a long time since he'd seen Kurafat interested in anything other than work and family. A long time indeed. And he was happy to see that now it seemed that was changing. Who are you helping? I just felt sorry. So stubborn, so impulsive, so bossy. She didn't really want to help. The last incident still left her feeling guilty. Great, Benita. Is this little sister that good? Kita teased, but Kurafat immediately shook his head in denial. King knows that Queen is not like that. What kind of good person would receive that disappointed look from Benita? She still had no self-esteem since the other threw away the kiss mark. And that was a kiss. It wasn't something disgusting. Like this. The kind they call good. Why? Just because Queen is cruel to those who deserve it doesn't mean she's evil. Life forces us to make choices, doesn't it? Yes, but with certain people, she was still bossy. Kita rested her elbow on the table, resting her chin on her hand, waiting for her sister's words. He always felt grateful for being a good brother, to the point of gaining her trust. Because, if it wasn't too much of a secret, Kurafat would always tell him everything. And he always tried hard to be a good advisor, especially to his family. Especially to Kurafat and Thunwa, whom he protected more than anyone else. For some people, being good isn't enough to win. What does Queen mean? A kitten. I recently adopted one. Very stubborn, needs to be tamed. Last week I tried to play with it a little, but it snorted and raised all its fur. I guess I thought it was scary. Kita laughed. What were we talking about? How did we end up with cats? Oh, King, he said. Wait, is this cat a person? You're smart. Sorry, I think I take after my little sister. Is that a compliment? Be careful not to push him so hard that you scare him. It would be good if he were scared, the way he keeps contradicting me. I'm getting irritated. Kita raised an eyebrow, keeping all questions to herself. From the look on Kurafat's face, it seemed like something interesting was going on. He himself wanted to know how long she would stay with this cat. Until you get tired and let it go, or until you decide to keep it forever. King. Yes. Have you ever done something bad to someone and couldn't forget it? Does this question mean you want to apologize? I'm just asking out of curiosity. Kita laughed. All right, then I'll answer as general knowledge. House. First, is this person important enough for you to waste time apologizing? What do you mean? If you can answer that first question, I'll tell you the second one. King, I'm not stupid. The firm tone of voice, followed by a serious look. My sister is smart about everything. I don't want to know any more. It's a complete waste of time. Kurafat said this and left immediately, but Kita shouted behind her. Second, does Queen feel bad for doing something bad to this person? Her footsteps stopped suddenly. Nonsense, King. I'm just passing on knowledge. 2 days later, Benita walked down from the school building, not forgetting to look around to see if anyone was lurking. Kem's appearance last time made her need to be extra careful. Fortunately, he wasn't as patient as she thought. After waiting for her for 3 days, he disappeared, but she still wouldn't let her. Guard down until the start of her vacation in 2 weeks. However, as soon as she walked out in front of the building, her eyes caught sight of a familiar car parked there. When she tried to drive straight past, the rear window rolled down, revealing a stern look that was urging her to get into the car. Heh, you think you can boss everyone around in this world? She walked right past without caring, believing that the other woman wouldn't do anything that would draw attention to herself. People of status and fame need to maintain their image, so obviously they wouldn't do something stupid to tarnish it. Today, Benita still had to sort out the issue of her new home and didn't have time to play the games of a spoiled person. But it seemed she was wrong. The other one didn't really do anything scandalous, but sent a woman dressed in a suit, acting as a bodyguard, who approached her directly. The lady wants you to get in that car. Which car? Are you sure you're not getting it mixed up? Sent Benita. The lady asked me to let you know that if you don't come in, she will come to your work and order you to attend to her every day for a month. Benita frowned, feeling her heart tighten without realizing it. Taking care of her every day for a month. She had to be crazy, wasting money on nonsense like that. Have you gone crazy? She muttered to herself. Of course the other knew her weak points, knew where to find her, but she chose not to show up directly and instead pressure her like this. A week without giving any sign of life, and this was all she could think of to apologize. The lady also asked me to let you know that she wants to discuss a job that was previously agreed upon. If you don't get in the car within 20 seconds, she will impose a punishment. Punishment? Yes. What the hell? Who does she think she is? The lady asked me to say. Enough. I already understand that your lady is a tyrant. For a moment, it seemed like the woman in front of her gave a small smile, but it was too quick to be sure. Benita turned and walked straight toward Kurafat. Not that she was going to get into the car like she wanted, but just to make her position clear. Benita knocked on the glass of the window that had been rolled down earlier, but all the words she had prepared to reprimand her disappeared the moment Queen opened the window and pulled her face inside without warning, just like last time when the other one pulled her in for a kiss. Come in, or I'll kiss you right here. Anyway, you already see me as a bad person, but what kind of lamentation was this? Even so, Benita would not give in so easily. She was not as naive as Queen thought. I won't get in the car until you apologize. Kurafat's gaze narrowed, his eyebrows drawing together into a crease. What makes you think you can give me orders? And what makes you be here now? Benita held her gaze defiantly. If the other woman thought she would see her crying again, she was mistaken. She was sensitive, but not weak. If she had been, she would have been destroyed long ago. The days that had passed had taught her how to deal with Kurafat. She had already imagined what she would do if she returned, and now that she had returned, it was time to put that plan into action. You can kiss me as many times as you want, but you should know what you did wrong. Mature people don't run away from their mistakes like you, Queen. Kurafat gritted her teeth. Benita was still as sharp with her words as ever. She had thought that the other would have become more submissive, but no. The kiss that night only seemed to have made her even more stubborn. You should be afraid of me, not challenging me like this. If I were afraid, then I would walk away. Fear makes me avoid certain things. Get in the car. No. Babe. I don't follow your orders. Apologize. Now, Queen. Kurafat was losing patience with Benita. Didn't she realize her tolerance was limited? She hated being bossed around. Skirt. The woman ordered the driver, before giving Benita another piercing look. Come in. I already said no. Kurafat frowned. You and I aren't going to solve this with just an apology, babe. I know that. I'm very sorry. For what? For kissing you without your permission, Benita nodded. Then give me some room. I'll get in the car, but through this door here. The moment Benita got into the car and closed the door firmly, Kurafat pressed her against the side of the vehicle with terrifying speed, as if she were a shadow in the darkness. Benita didn't even have time to react to the sudden attack. You can kiss me as many times as you want. Kurafat whispered, repeating the words Benita had said before, just wanting to challenge her. But the other took this sentence and returned it as a promise. You said that, didn't you? Benita's chin was held and lightly squeezed. Reply. Yes. Great, then keep your word. As soon as she finished speaking, Kurafat's lips fell on hers once more. Fast, precise, but Benita was left without a reaction as the kiss was intense, repetitive. The other woman not only kissed her, but even bit her. She had to swallow hard. Kurafat wouldn't let her get away, not even to take a breath. Each attempt to open her lips was interrupted by a new attack. She felt the pain of the bites and could already foresee the swelling that would come later. Benita had kissed before, but never someone with such a dominating will. Damn, was she trying to apologize or punish her? Haha. She inhaled as much air as she could as Kurafat released her. He felt like someone who had nearly drowned, and upon surfacing, was desperately trying to fill his lungs. Why did you bite me? So you remember. Next time, don't try to order me around or act like you're above me." "Oh, really? That makes you want to devour me even more, does it?" Kurafat held her gaze. But when she saw the tears threatening to form in Benita's wide eyes, she hesitated. She wanted to be even crueler, but she simply couldn't. Slowly, she lifted her thumb and caressed the other's swollen lips. "If you don't want to get hurt, don't do that again." "What if I want to hurt myself because of you? Does that mean I should do it again?" "Babe," Kurafat's tone was lower and more severe, and Benita finally fell silent. It wasn't that she wasn't startled by the intensity of the kiss, because she was. Her lips hurt, but she had no one to blame but herself. After all, she had given her permission with her words. "You came to apologize to me, didn't you? Then spoil me more." It was strange how, in just a week of not seeing each other, Benita seemed to have matured enough to face her as an equal. But at the same time, Benita thought that if Kurafat wanted to play with her, then she would play back. And the day the other got tired of the game, she would get tired too.